my delightful Gina.
Is this the first time you've been reunited since Gina's back on the airwaves?
It is. Yeah.
It's very exciting.
I'm beaming from ear to ear.
Well, so much so that you've actually saved something for us today for our confession. We'll get on to in just a moment. But how are you both? But before we find out about the real inner workings of Father Neil, we'll get some pleasantries out of the way.
I'm feeling old.
You're feeling old?
Yes, my youngest daughter is 21 yesterday. So it is making me feel
a little old.
Yeah, somewhat old.
Yeah, okay. Wait, I was going to say something. I won't say something.
I mean, you're a grandma, so...
I'm a grandma.
So I'm not that old.
And I'm younger than you are.
Yeah.
This is pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay. I've had a busy week and a funny week. I've got a bit of a head cold thing going on.
Yeah, you sound better than you did on Tuesday, though.
Yeah. A little better this morning than I did yesterday, and Tuesday was rough. But I'm feeling a little better today.
Coming out the other side.
Hopefully.
Love that.
It's very misty out there this morning.
I have to tell you, Andy, bless him, he came in to work from work last night. Comes into my study, gives me a kiss. I've had a heck of a day, he says. I said, oh dear, what's happened? He works at a nursing home. A new patient had come in, and it's a dementia ward. And this... the patient got a little angry because Andy was trying to give him his tablets. Right. And he kicked him in the plums.
Oh dear. Oh, ow.
And then just as he was bending down to hold himself, the guy then punched him in the chops as well.
Oh,
classic kicking nether region and uppercut.
Classic 1-2. Yeah. It's a good job you've already had all your kids, isn't it? And you're on to the grandkids. So.
Oh dear, is he okay this morning?
He looked a little bit rough when I left this morning, but I'm sure he'll heal.
Still a bit peaky.
Yeah, he's going in for round 2 today.
Yeah.
No, he's staying home today.
He's throwing the towel in.
Imagine going to the doctor. You need to sign me off. I've got workplace injury. Oh, well, I need to examine you. Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, dearie me. Oh, bless. I hope he makes a quick and speedy recovery. Let's have a look. I'll have a look into that in a minute. So, confessions. Every Thursday, we try and get a story of someone around the county that's looking for a bit of absolution. Yeah, they're looking for an ascendancy up to the gates. We can't guarantee them through the gates.
No, we can't.
No, but we can certainly help them on their way to ascend.
Yes.
And I think on the whole we do a good job. But even if there's a few dun-dun-duns, which we had last time.
We did. Absolutely.
Yes.
But we do offer a bit of in between, you know?
Exactly.
If you say sorry, if you make amends, then there is a chance we can get you in there.
Remind us, what was the issue? What was the confession? I can't remember now, but it was definitely a dun-dun-dun.
What, before Christmas?
Was it before Christmas? No, we'd had one 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
No, we haven't had one, have we?
Have we not?
No, this is the first one.
Oh, it's the first one back.
Oh, well, in that case, are we going to start off with a Hallelujah chorus?
Well,
What would you be doing?
This is a special confession to welcome Gina back onto the airwaves.
We've got to do our jingle first, though.
Yes.
We do. So, Gina, do you remember the jingle?
The jingle, I remember the dance.
Here we go.
There you go, yes.
And I'm delighted to say that today's confession not only is going to be read out by Father Neil, but is in relation to Father Neil. The floor is yours.
Okay, the keyword is moose. Your keyword is moose. I'm trying to do the maths. So this would have been 33 years ago when I was a callow 18-year-old.
Can I ask a question?
Go on.
When you say moose, are we talking those big caribou-looking things?
Yes.
Or are we talking the chocolate mousse?
No, not chocolate mousse.
Oh, I had chocolate mousse in my head. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
No,
okay,
big caribou.
Okay, just...
Big caribou, yeah. The national animal of Canada? Or it could be the beaver. We'll not go down that route. Anyway. So, where was I? Yes, I was 18 years old. I just arrived at Swansea University as a student to study my first degree, and I arrived a little bit later.
That was the first of your miracles, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was about 8 weeks into term, and I arrived at the flat I was staying in, sharing it with 6 other lovely students at the time, and they decided to take me out for the first night. And I had a very sheltered upbringing, in which I never consumed any alcohol. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. But nonetheless, they decided to take me out to the student bar. And as we were walking across to the bar, they introduced me to this game called Moose.
Okay.
We all started drinking. And the aim of the game was that because I was the newest, I had to scan the bar and fix eyes upon a lovely lady who was perhaps inebriated. And I had to go across and I had to ply her with my best lines. And then, at the appropriate moment, I had to lean in and gently deposit a kiss upon her lips. And if I managed to do that, I was to spin round to my colleagues, and I was to place 2 hands on either side of my head with fingers spread like antlers and go, Moose!
Immediately afterwards.
Yes. Thus implying that I had no true carnal affections for the young lady, but instead it was all part of some game. So, rather cruel, to be honest with you. But I was 18 at the time and easily led and easily swayed under the influence of alcohol. So, I duly started the game, I scanning the bar for my piece of prey, saw a young lady at the in front of the hand pumps drinking real ale and thought, there's a likely target. Smoothly went across and wedged myself next to her, started plying her with my very best lines and alcohol as well. And it took about 3/4 of an hour.
The long game?
Yeah. But eventually, pints and pints, and I think it's more to do with the pints than it was to do with the lines. Eventually,
I can understand that.
yeah, thanks. I had a beard even
We
then
heard
at
your
18.
lines.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Eventually, the moment was there, and I leaned in and stole a kiss.
Is this a peck on the cheek?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
At that point, stunned by my own good fortune, I stepped back and went to turn to my friends, only to be eclipsed when the young lady spun round to her friends and went, Moose!
Ah, yes.
You were double-crossed.
Dear counsel of the G&T Breakfast Show and Alive and Kicking, am I forgiven for my teenage transgressions?
Well,
Oh, wow.
the lady that you kissed is forgiven. She's made my day. Brilliant.
Oh my goodness. So, you were a young man. You've gone off to university. You've got to spread your wings, and there's japes when there's friends involved, isn't
Yes.
there? And no matter how old you get, those japes still continue, in my experience. And as part of that, there was a little challenge. You had to go to a bar and find a girl, seduce them with your best one-liners, 2-liners, 3-liners, and a beverage.
25 liners.
25
Yeah.
liners. Give them a smooch, and then immediately afterwards, make them feel like idiots as you turn around and go moose with the hands.
With the hands, yes.
However, Mr. I thought I won everything.
Yeah.
She beat you to it.
She did. Yes. Which means her motivation for allowing herself to be seduced and for me to buy her all of those drinks
Yes.
as well.
She had the cheapest night ever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that you both could have realistically gone up to each other. My mates are over there. We're playing a game called Moose, and just like, no way, I am too.
Yeah.
Mwah, Moose.
We could have done it simultaneously. Didn't have to do the dance.
No.
No.
Have a great night, love.
Yeah.
Reverend Sophie.
I'm currently in a slight state of shock.
Why is that, Sophie? You know I had a past. You knew I had a past as a sinner.
We've all got one of those. I mean, yeah, there's a whole other conversation to be had there. We've all got one of those. I think I'm more shocked that the person that I know now is not the person from 33 years ago, or however many years ago it was, because you've gotten worse, really, haven't you?
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you've got more subtle. I was going to say you've got more subtle about it, but actually you haven't really got more subtle about it.
I do not go around chatting up young ladies. I've been happily married for a quarter of a century this year.
Well, yes, but you're quite good at sending out the lines, aren't you?
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. I'd have to check with Gina.
I was going to say, Gina gets these lines every Thursday morning. So I think, what am I forgiving you for here? This is the question. Am I forgiving you for bad pickup lines? Am I forgiving you for being, just outrageous enough?
I think a teenage
outrageous
man.
enough to chat up a young lady in a bar, which I'm not sure that needs forgiveness.
I think my motivations were not pure.
Yes.
This is the thing.
Oh, okay.
If I hadn't have been humiliated, then I think the young lady might have been humiliated.
You felt what you were happy to give.
I see.
Yes. I received my punishment at that point. But my motivations in going forward with this, I mean, I would never suggest that people go out today and play moose around the pubs of Pembrokeshire. It is at its heart, it's a cruel game, and so I think it was right that I was punished for succumbing to peer pressure. But I've never asked for forgiveness for actually allowing myself to put that
young lady in that situation.
Right, though, so if you look at it through 2025 spectacles,
yes,
and you look at it back, I mean, I was a little bit horrified at the fact that, but then I thought about it and I thought, actually, I'm pretty sure that back in 1990, 1980s, 1990, it's a different time.
Yes.
Different time, and the dynamics between male and female was slightly different. I mean, I talk about this all the time. Like, I used to love watching the Carry On films. The girls I went to college with when I went to Trinity, they thought it was horrendous that I used to watch Carry On films because of the nature of them. And they were good 10, 12 years younger than me. So, I mean, I still stand by the Carry On films. They're a good laugh.
You have to see them in their cultural context, don't you?
You do have to see them in their cultural context, and I think that's really important. And I think at the time, you probably wouldn't have thought twice about it either. But when you look back on it, that's when you think, actually, it was a really
so am
hard
I
thing
forgiven
to do.
or not? Dead air.
Come on.
Go to Gina.
Okay.
Loves me. Gina loves me.
In 2025, not forgiven. However, this did take place in 1990, and you know what? Forgiven. You weren't a father then. You were a new student.
A new student.
One forgiven on the tally board.
We've got a forgiven. We've heard the thoughts of Reverend Sophie. What are your thoughts back home? Father Neil was happy to put himself in a situation where he could have humiliated a young lady in a bar and then ended up being humiliated himself, which I bet got a better reaction from the lads anyway.
The entirety of my university career, there were certain people who referred to me by the name of Moose.
If we were doing a proper confessional, right? Okay, if we were doing a proper confessional, and Neil and I wouldn't do that because we just wouldn't. But if we were doing a proper confessional and I was sat here as his confessor right now, okay, I would be looking into the whites of his eyes quite literally and trying to work out how penitent he actually was. And I think he is truly held on to that and has felt really, truly terrible about it for the last 33 years. So I would say forgiven.
I think that you're almost glad that
To have got it out.
you were one-upped,
Yeah.
because it does give you that sense of, it's not great, but it's okay because their intentions were the same. I think you're almost quite pleased with that, so you don't need to have it. God, that poor that woman at the bar, she's still living this life, and she was humiliated all those years ago. I bet she still thinks about it. We've had confessions before about goldfish in primary schools.
Yeah.
Yes.
We hold on to these things, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely. And I was more than happy to sort of like shrug it off with a wry smile for the rest of my time at Swansea University. But if I'd had to see that young lady walking around for the next 3 years, knowing that I'd actually done that to her. So allowing myself to be encouraged into that sort of behaviour, that's what I'm truly penitent
And
for.
it's because of situations like that, and men growing up and becoming a little bit more in tune with their feelings and feelings of others, that we have the society we live in now. It's because we had the 90s of a little bit of debauchery from others, on maybe not on that scale, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
That we've actually now turned that corner, and it's now not acceptable,
Not
or
acceptable.
it's like the boundaries have been moved, and it's because of that reflection of those times. So actually, and you got humiliated at the time.
Yes.
It's the
Extra
reflection-
bonus.
The reflection that's important, isn't
Yeah.
it? The reflection that helps you grow. I think you need to draw that metaphorical line in the sand and go forth and sin no more, my brother.
Oh, I
Christ.
don't know whether I can go forth and sin no more. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. My sin, my grievous sin.
But it is why he's still working on those lines, though, because they didn't work.
No.
It didn't work at all.
No.
They didn't work. One of a bit of a more innocent take is if one of our friends says, "Oh, I like the look of her," not to humiliate, but because you don't like the look of them. As we're walking past, going to the loo or to the bar or something, we'll just stop on our tracks and be like, "Have you met my friend Nick?" and then carry on walking. And so we're actually making an introduction of what could be a flourishing relationship.
Absolutely. What about you, Tom?
What about me? Have I been shunned at the bar?
No,
Yes.
no, you're happily married. We're not going to mention that on air. In fact, we know you're happily married because you're married properly.
Yes.
By the people in this studio.
I know.
So, but what is your judgment with your legal background now? Forgiven or not forgiven?
With my legal background.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, similar to what we talked about, actually, the eye for an eye with the Taylor Swift story, is that she got you first.
Yeah.
And over 45 minutes, you might think, oh, am I doing this for the game, or is there actually something here? Am I just going to do the moose thing because this is what I've been told? But actually, I'm enjoying this conversation. You got the kiss, and then she moosed you. So I think you've already paid your price.
Yeah.
So you know what? I, too, am going to forgive.
Oh, it's a clean sweep. What do people out there in Radioland feel?
Anna King.
Oh.
Not forgiven.
Oh, no!
Not forgiven. As the young lady could have been very sensitive, and she could have been scared for her life, the poor lady.
Scared for her life?
However, she was playing the same game.
Yeah.
And if she hadn't come back at you, it would have been the talk of the evening. She would have been the butt of the joke, but actually she turned it around very quickly, very effectively.
Yes.
But Anna, are you sticking with that? If you're just tuning in and you've heard the summary, Father Neil was playing jokes with his friend, went up to the bar, plied her with drinks as a nice chap, of course.
Yeah.
But the aim was to get a smooch, a little kiss at the end, and then turn around and go moose for those on Facebook with the hands and all. And would you have forgiven? Rona Mac Music on Instagram.
Okay.
Forgiven.
Yes.
Ah.
So
Forgiven.
I think that through the council here this morning and over on Instagram with Rona Mac, thank you so much for listening with us. I think that for now we're forgiving.
Yay!
For forgiving.
Father Neil, put those hands in the air.
Thank you, dear listeners, and to the Council of G&T.
Go forth in your happily married life and your family, safe in the knowledge that that woman is also doing exactly the same thing. Going, do you remember back in uni where I moosed that guy and he thought he was going to get one over on me? Ha! I beat him. It's a wonderful world we live in.
It is.
And thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for allowing me to share it on our first Confessions Back with Gina.
Yes, 2025. Reverend Sophie, I can already see the weight lifted.
I know, he looks much lighter, doesn't he? It's amazing what a good confession can do for you.
Amazing. Alive and kicking on Sunday morning?
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
We're going to be talking all about miracles.
Ooh.
I think we're going to talk water into wine.
Sounds like a good miracle.
Have you seen that that picture from Tesco's where they've got a sign above one of their counters that says water, and then the whole thing is full of red wine?
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say,
Love that.
Father Neil has definitely seen it, because are you still frequenting into Tesco's?
Oh,
Into your little...
course.
Yes.
That's another
Yes.
confession.
I was there
Mr. Greg's
earlier this week,
confession.
and a little bit of a development on from this. So the usual person that's behind there, God bless him, I think he was out the back. And I was queuing going forward, and there was a newer lady behind. And for those of you just tuning in, I go into Tesco's quite a lot, and I always go straight to Greg's. Other bakeries are available. And I always go for a box of Yum Yums. And he just popped his head out the back and saw me and just said to the lady behind the counter, "Box of Yum Yums."
He wasn't even on the till.
So, I've been known by many names over my life. I've been known as Moose in university. I'm known as Father Neil by the kids in school and in the parish. But to the wonderful employees at Greg's, I'm known as Boxy Yum Yums.
Yum Yums.
I'm just thinking the Mikado now.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Three little girls from school, are we? Thank you both so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll have you back on the Breakfast Show in due course. Reverend Sophie, thanks again for Gratitude and us this week.
Yeah,
If
very,
you
very
would like
welcome.
to send in your own confession, studio@purewestradio.com, or if you see me around the town, then just beware, because I love winkling confessions out of people.
Yes, he does. We will hear your stories here on the Breakfast Show on Purest Radio. Thank you both so much.
Bye for now.
Bye!
Discover the freedom of Motability with the